video, we'll be talking about ornamentals. Now, I am very much a novice when it comes to growing flowers, so this has been a true year of experimentation for me. What I'd like to do is walk you through what's blooming now here in September in DC and talk a little bit about what's been working and what I've been struggling with here, and do a little bit of flower arranging, which is definitely a first for me. Let's do a walkthrough. Over here we have some echinacea, and these I purchased from a garden center as mature plants, so I did not start those from seed. Yeah, on the right side we have some cosmos, and on the left side we have some zinnia. These are Quinny Lime Red, and the Cosmos is sort of a yellow color, as you can see there. They have started developing some pretty serious powdery mildew as we are getting into fall. Over here we have some Love Lies Bleeding, which is a kind of amaranth, some columbine that has yet to flower that I planted in the spring. Over here some more cosmos, and now this gorgeous, huge branching sunflower. I have to say that sunflowers have been my real success story of the garden. Over here we have some echinacea that I started from seed. Again, has not flowered yet and probably will next year.
Quick update, it looks like my echinacea will be flowering this year after all.
Over here we have some hollyhocks that bloomed earlier in the year that were absolutely gorgeous. They grew, I think, to be about 7 feet tall. They were absolutely huge and certainly taller than me, which again is not saying much. Moving on, we have some more zinnias, this time in different colors. We have some white, some orange, and yellow, so really bright sunny colors, along with another humongous branching sunflower. I really love them, and they have been so resilient given the storms that we've had. Over here, I planted some hibiscus plants that I got from a garden center, and they don't seem to be doing great. I'm not sure what to expect from them, but I recently planted those. Here is another Love Lies Bleeding. It is such a beautiful plant, and these are actually all seeds that you see. All this length here are all these tiny seeds growing along here, so they will undoubtedly create a lot of sort of new sprouts as they fall off over the course of the season. Then we have some foxgloves. These foxgloves will bloom in the spring. Another branching sunflower, and some more hollyhocks that again I planted in kind of later in spring, and these hollyhocks, so they did not bloom like the other ones did, but they will bloom next year in the spring. And then my favorite branching sunflower, it is a teddy bear sunflower with incredible full heads of just non-stop petals. It doesn't have that dark center full of seeds that you're used to seeing. They are just so gorgeous, and they make me so happy because they are just the cutest. I mean, look at this thing. It is gorgeous. Over here I have some sweet alyssum that I've been growing along with my tomatoes. They're a great companion plant for tomatoes because they attract predators of some of the pests that can attack them. And finally over here I have some native aster. I planted this in the spring after I purchased it at a native plant sale, and I didn't know what to expect from it. They said it wanted a partial shade, and I put it in a spot that seemed right for it, and it seemed healthy, but it was just growing a lot of leaves over the course of the summer, and two different kinds of leaves. It was a really funky looking plant. And then we approached September, and suddenly it absolutely exploded with these tiny flowers in the palest white-ish lavender, and I absolutely love them, and I'm so glad I bought this plant. To keep things a little more efficient and clean in the kitchen when arranging the flowers, I came over to my workstation outside to clean up the leaves, check for bugs, and just sort of shake off any excess pollen. I think this is a helpful step just to keep things efficient in the kitchen so there's less cleanup later. And you want to make sure to strip off those leaves from the stems because they can rot in the water. Okay, we are back from the garden. You might be able to see I still have lines on my forehead from my hat. And we are going to take these flowers that we cut from the garden and make a bouquet. Before I get started on that, just a little PSA on hollyhock. I had accidentally knocked off a big, beautiful stalk of hollyhock flowers, and I thought, well, let's give it a cut and throw it in some water and see what happens. At first it got really sad, but then it kind of plumped up, and at that point all of these buds had been closed, and so once it was hydrated after a couple of days, it actually sprang back to life, and some of the buds, the smaller ones, sort of shriveled up and died, but the larger blooms were viable and have opened over the course of the past couple of weeks. So this has been blooming now for about 2 weeks, which is fantastic. So it's great to know that if it ever happens by accident, you can at least enjoy the blooms that have reached a certain size. And maybe even if you have a skinny sort of side branch, you could cut it for a bouquet if you'd like. All right, so let's get started on arranging this bouquet. I am so excited to do this because I feel like I'm channeling Crane from Cranery Gardens. He is one of my favorite YouTubers. I watch him all the time, and I just love his videos about his cut flower garden and arranging flowers. Let's get started. I'm gonna start by putting down some of these base fillers. This is the aster that was on the side of the house. This is Sweet Alyssum that has been growing in my tomato grow bag. And also near my tomatoes, I have some basil that I've let kind of go to flower again. The pollinators absolutely love basil flowers, and they smell fantastic. They have that gorgeous sort of peppery basil scent. So I have that as interest as well. So I'm just gonna pop those in. And then we can add our zinnias. Oh, also, I picked some of my amaranth. What I love about this is that not only are the tips colored, but the stem has a gorgeous magenta color too. And I also cut Love Lies Bleeding, which is the sort of droopy version of this. And you can see this is a little bit more pinkish in tone versus the deeper magenta, but they are very complementary. So I want to get some interesting other types of shapes into this bouquet. So I'm gonna pop some more in. So right now it has a lot of dark red, sort of magenta. I don't know how this is gonna look, but I'm gonna do my best. I don't know how orange fits into this, but I feel like these red flowers definitely will work. And this one has a really funky shape. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut this and have it sit lower and kind of stick out on the side. And sometimes that can be helpful in a bouquet just so that there is interest from lots of different angles. And I'm just gonna start popping this in to see what happens. I'm not doing the whole putting chicken wire in here and making this kind of a form. Okay, this is my lazy girl attempt at making a cute bouquet. Now some of the zinnias that I had cut had wobbly little sections, especially right close to the flower head, so I had to abandon those, but that is something to keep an eye on. You can do a sort of a flop test to see if the stem is sturdy enough to be cut, otherwise it will flop in the vase and just sort of rot and do nothing, so you don't want those in your arrangement. These are some gorgeous Queen Lime Red Zinnia, and they have, this is probably their third flush, and they're doing so well. They still have lots of layers of petals, and they're just really great. So I'm a huge fan of these Queen Lime Red. And I also love the bits of variation that you see flower to flower. They're not uniform, and that adds a lot of fun for bouquets. This is a zinnia that has flecks of color. I love it. It's kind of like confetti. I think that might even be what it's called. So I love the mix of that, and that works really well to kind of blend different colors together. So you have a bit of white and you have some of this confetti in here, and that should work to help it kind of come together. Now this is definitely not gonna look perfect or professional, but I think it will look cute as sort of a farmhouse bouquet just from the garden. I think it'll be clear that it's just from the garden, but that doesn't make it any less cute. Okay, I think I'm finally done mussing and fussing and zhuzhing, and this is where I'm cutting myself off. It will never be perfect, that's just the nature of flower arranging, but I love the way that these different shapes work together. I love this basil creating these sort of spikes that stick out, the sweet alyssum and this amaranth on the corners. I did throw in the hollyhock because it looks so lonely in its little bud face, and I don't have very much white in here, so I thought I'd pop it in there. Hopefully it doesn't die sooner than the others, and if it does, I'll just pull it out. But for now, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. Now again, I am a total novice, so if you have any advice, please do leave that in the comments. I am here and I'm taking notes, and I am all about that feedback. Thank you again to Crane for the inspiration. I've always been so focused on edibles, so this is exciting to jump into the world of flower gardening and arranging. Next year I have ambitious plans. Actually, not even next year. I will walk you through all of the seeds I have planted for cool weather flowers that are going to go in the ground this fall. Thank you so much for watching. Denny's side branch goes about his flowers very specifically. The foliage to create some interest. This is the castor because they will rot in the water.